Hello, today is September 24th, and it's a Friday. We're doing security. Huh?
25th.
That's the 25th.
25th, whatever. It's the end of September, and we're doing nonsense and security today.
It's March 207th. What are you talking about?
Yeah, so it doesn't really... Dates are relative. It's almost October. Almost spooky time.
And what could be more spooky than a handful of security flaws that you have to look out for. And the first one affects pretty much everybody with a phone in their hand right now, and so many other devices. This is really a bad one.
Billions of devices vulnerable to new BLESA Bluetooth security flaw. It's a Bluetooth low energy attack. That's the Bluetooth low energy is the BLE actually, I guess, in BLESA. So the attack it's just bad. It ignored Bluetooth reconnection process, unlike previous vulnerabilities, most found in the pairing operation. So this is when a device shows up again later. So this can be exploited pretty readily.
I have a set of speakers in my bedroom, and I have the Bluetooth receiver on them so I can play stuff from my tablet and phone. And it doesn't matter what the volume on a device is. The do when it reconnects is always the same volume. And there's so many times in the middle of the night when my tablet or my phone is like, better reconnect the Bluetooth. That's really annoying. So it does constantly reconnect. If somebody's looking to get to my speakers, I'm in trouble. That's a bad one, but
this one's worse.
Your Bluetooth devices are not quite as important as enterprise network devices, which also have a little bit of a problem. Or they did, although I'm sure they've not all been updated, so some of them still do.
Zerologon attack lets hackers take over enterprise networks. Patch now. Microsoft patches one of the most severe bugs ever reported to the company. So it turns out it's like Zerologon. You just pad some fields with zeros, and you can get a domain controller to execute arbitrary commands.
It's a great image.
Yeah, it's just... Oh, look at that. This flaw is so ridiculous that I can't help but think it was deliberately planted by some intelligence agency, but okay, you know what? Whatever. Basically, you just have to insert yourself between a domain controller and an authenticated computer having a conversation, and then you can inject arbitrary code and take over the domain controller. You can reset the computer account's password on Active Directory. The whole thing takes about 3 seconds, or less.
I gotta think, if I'm a penetration tester, this is pretty high on the list of things to try first.
Yeah.
How did we not figure this out for so long?
Yeah. How did SMB v1 literally have arbitrary code execution as one of its features? That's not a bug. It's literally built to do that.
So, China. They're often in the security news, aren't they? This week is no exception, because they just keep hacking.
Chinese state hackers are exploiting F5, Citrix, Pulse Secure, and Exchange bugs. CISA says the attacks started a year ago, and some have been successful. So there have been a number of really high-profile, really severe security issues, and pretty much every company on Earth is using at least one of those things. Well, every company larger than like 10 people, I should say.
And that's not the only thing. Hey, do you like video games? Do you trust the software that your video gaming company provides you to play those games? Well, that might be a mistake.
Krebs on Security has this amazing... the Justice Department this week indicted 7 Chinese nationals for a decade-long hacking spree that targeted more than 100 high-tech and online gaming companies. It was literally a Chinese antivirus firm. They were part of Apt 41, which is the state-sponsored... advanced persistent threat hacking group that had been here forever. They've been working on this for a decade. A decade.
And the funniest thing was, so obviously they were trying to get malware in there if they could and stuff like that, and Bitcoin miners or whatever, that kind of stuff. But they were also stealing in-game currencies and trading them. Like the Chinese government is stealing WoW gold. That's part of their
They've
official...
gone too far.
Yeah. What if that's
Not
your job? Your family's, what do you do for the government? I can't tell you. And your secret is you steal WoW gold.
Well, I think it's a safe bet there wouldn't be any counterintelligence unit on our side making sure that their WoW gold is not stolen.
That's the sadder job, is the guy at the FBI whose job is to police the WoW economy. Oh, man. So hacking used to be a pretty complicated thing, but then we had this weird situation where everybody's credentials just got leaked online. And a new form of hacking that's pretty low effort came into existence, but it seems to be pretty successful.
The FBI says that credential stuffing attacks are behind some recent bank hacks. So all of these security breaches that we're talking about, where people have been able to recover hashed passwords or even worse, unencrypted passwords, now the criminals are trying them at various bank websites. A lot of people use the same password everywhere. They've got your name, they've got your email address, maybe a bunch of your email addresses. They've got your password, maybe a bunch of passwords by correlating your email address with all of the other passwords. So they can just look through that thing like a database and try to log into your bank with your email and a bunch of passwords that you are known to have used in the past.
I actually got an email, and I hadn't used my GoDaddy account in probably 7 years. I was like, hey, thanks for logging into your GoDaddy account. I was like, what? Somebody had stuffed it. Because I hadn't used it in so long, it still had the darknet password on it.
Nice.
It's just one of those websites I forgot that I had an account. Luckily, I didn't have any domains or anything on there. They couldn't do anything. There was no credit card, but, still alarming.
Yeah. If GoDaddy hadn't emailed you to be like, blah, blah, blah. But also, if your credentials were on a stolen list of credentials that GoDaddy or somebody else leaked, shame on them for not running your password through the leak, because
really,
Microsoft and Google have both been doing that. I've got some honeypot accounts that are set up, and Gmail straight up was like, hey, your password is on a list. You need to log in and you need to change it right now.
Chrome does that inherently.
Oh, yeah. With the changes in Chrome, it's like, you're filling out a form with this. You got to change this, even though Chrome doesn't know what website you're on.
It's pretty cool. This is one of the this is not a hack. This is a leak. One of the sadder ones, because it is certainly a portion of our country who is underserved, treated pretty poorly. And now this is kind of insult to injury, literally injury.
Personal information of roughly 46,000 veterans has been exposed in a Veterans Affairs hack. So it turns out the VA was not handling data really well, which is sad because this is the third or fourth time this has happened in as many years. Sometimes it was a stolen laptop. This time, breach database.
You gotta have one a week. But to take the security section to an even darker ending, our last story is the saddest thing that can happen when ransomware and hacking goes wrong. Well, I guess it went right, didn't it? But the outcome was very wrong.
German hospital hacked and patient taken to another city dies. So this is probably going to be the first death that can be chalked up to ransomware. German authorities said Thursday what appears to have been a misdirected hacker attack caused the failure of IT systems at a major hospital in Dusseldorf. And a woman who needed urgent admission died because she had to be taken somewhere else for treatment.
The really crazy thing here is that we don't have some sort of system in a hospital for like just triage to be like, okay, ignore the check-in process. Just stop the death from happening. But they're like, listen, our hands are tied. Take them to the other hospital. She was dead by the time she got there.
A lot of the time, drugs for dealing with trauma and even just things like, morphine or anything like that, those are all like the computer has to dispense those and you have to explain why.
Yeah. So big terrorist attack, that's going to be an issue.
Yeah.
I guess you could just crowbar them out of there. But so they say mistaken identity because the Dusseldorf University has a university hospital, obviously. The hacker didn't seem to understand that they had gotten the hospital. They thought they'd gotten the university. And they were like, hey, Dusseldorf University, send me Bitcoin. And when the cops called them, they were like, do you realize that you have a hospital? They just said, oh, God. And they sent the key. But the woman was already dead. They might have lost some sleep over that. They might have deserved to. And moving on to nonsense, one of the big trends from the world that we live in, the darkest of timelines, is that a lot of people are not moving out or moving back.
The thing has pushed nearly 30 million young adults to move in with their parents. Working from your parents' home. Yeah, this seems reasonable. It's better than being homeless.
Yeah.
Probably.
It still sucks, though.
Probably is. They threw out some numbers, and they are pretty huge. I think it's nearly half No, it's the majority of 18 to 29. So more 18 to 29-year-olds live at home with their parents than don't at this point.
Have you joined our Patreon?
Well, you're not
Patreon.com.
You're not spending money on housing, right? This guy, they talked to this psychologist who has coined the term emerging adults. I picture them like, they're in a chrysalis and they're like fighting their way out of it.
I mean, like, this isn't people who don't want to live on their own. It's just that it's so unaffordable to do so that, like, this is the only option they have.
Or they're unemployed because...
Well, like the number of people that are coming out of college with just an insane debt, like, I really question the value of that. I mean, you might actually get more, like, useful life education apprenticing with, like, a plumber or an electrician or something.
There's no might about it.
Yeah. I mean, my younger cousins, we've been talking about, like, what they want to do in the future, and most of them at this point have gone into a trade because it doesn't make sense financially to send them to school unless they really want to study something specific.
The modern university experience, if we went to university right now, the experience would be, you're evil. let me give you 4 years of telling you why you're just the biggest piece of garbage in the world, and you give me $60,000 every year.
Yes, it's crazy how much. Even I haven't been out of college that long, but, like, I think I was in debt like $30,000, and now it's like doubled that in the time that I've been out of school.
There are people in our comments that are going to be like, I'm $250,000 in debt and I just graduated.
You made some poor life choices. So let me just throw out a scenario for you here, chap. This is kind of like a reincarnation type thing. How would you like this existence? You are born and you are a blank. You have no ability to breed. You have no purpose in life. You're not like all the others of your species. But once in a while, evil scientists come and they inject you with the qualities of others better than you, far better than you. And then you act as a sort of sex surrogate to pass on those genes, even though you have none. How do you like that idea? I don't know how these guys feel about it, but they don't get a choice.
Gene editing to produce super dad livestock. So there's a picture of goats here. Well, what they're doing is, technically these goats are sterile, but they can give them an injection, and the injection, they'll be the surrogate of whatever they gave them an injection for. So, like, cows, or they talk even about, like, racehorses. It's like, you know, right now with breeding, it's like, let's breed the really good one, but the really good one literally can't breed fast enough. But one way they could breed fast enough is by creating all of these surrogate, goats or whatever that all are the same, identical genetically. That seems like that would be bad for disease immunity.
This is good.
It would be incredibly bad for disease immunity.
This is such dystopian sci-fi stuff. Like, what if we got to a world where something bad happened or something went wrong, and now all we got left are blanks, and we don't have the reloads.
Bananas.
Yeah, I was just going to say bananas.
Happen.
Yeah. It's
right. Yeah.
Sweet and yummy, delicious bananas. What we have now is just a chalky shadow of what once was.
What they used to be. And they don't produce seeds, I don't think, anymore. Like, it's hard to find bananas with seeds anymore. It's already happened. Let's not have it happen with a major part of our food supply, like meat.
If this happened to chickens, I'd just say just wrap it all up. There's no reason to live if we don't have chickens.
No tendies.
Can you imagine that? It's like, I'm a prize chicken breeder. And it's just like, what? It's like, yeah, I've got a lineage dating back to the rural hills of Appalachia where chickens were raised the old-fashioned way.
So that whole thing plays out, and we think we've lost all the chickens, but the ones that are there to save us are the cockfighters.
Oh, no.
And they've been in the abandoned coal mines in eastern Kentucky. So it's the one place the laser scanners in orbit can't see them.
That'd be a good movie. Now, we are spending a whole lot of effort. People like Elon Musk and the U.S. government and everybody's governments, actually, we're all looking to get to that red planet. We want to go to Mars. And the dream is, what if something else had lived there before? Let's find life. We need something to distract us from the hell that is Earth. But maybe we're looking in the wrong direction.
Venus might host life. New discovery suggests the unexpected atmospheric detection of phosphine, a smelly gas made by microbes on Earth, could spark a revolution in astrobiology. So phosphine breaks down. There's not really like it would be hard for there to be a non-biological process that we know of for this to exist. So we're already talking about mounting a probe and an expedition to go and see if there's microbial life in the atmosphere of Venus. And then some scientists also pointed out, they stood up and they're like, wait, if microbial life is everywhere, because there is some good indirect evidence of microbial life on Mars, even going back to 1976 with the original lander missions. If it's on Mars and it's on Venus, then chances are, life is everywhere. But we don't see any evidence of complex life like alien civilization. So maybe the Great Filter lies before us. Maybe this is as far as any species makes it before they are extinguished.
Or maybe the type of life on Venus, because it's very inhospitable, is nothing like we could imagine it is. And when they get here, the comparatively temperate atmosphere of Earth will make them super powerful, much like Superman, and they will enslave us. And burn us with their superheated skins.
Or because they're microbes, we won't even see it coming. We'll just all die.
That'd be the best thing. Now, you might be thinking, hey, the weather's cooling off. What better way to take in the autumn than to protest the government? Maybe burn a few cars, throw some Molotovs, It's watch the leaves change.
Just don't do it with iCloud.
Yeah, leave your phone at home. But there are other reasons to rethink that decision, and this one in particular might scare you.
CNBC says the feds considered using a heat ray on D.C. protesters. A military whistleblower says federal officials sought some unusual crowd control devices, including one that's been called a heat ray, to deal with protesters outside the White House on that June day when law enforcement forcibly cleared Lafayette Square. So the heat ray, one of the other military people said that it feels like your skin is on fire.
Because it is kind of on fire.
It is classified whether or not we're actually using these in war zones, but it seems like maybe the deployment had been slowed down because it doesn't just seem like your skin's on fire, but you actually get some pretty serious burns from these in some instances. They also tried to get the LRADs, which are the acoustic attacks that we've seen before.
The weaponized brown note.
They said that this didn't happen, but I'm pretty sure I saw clips in Philadelphia where there was some strange sounds.
Well, this was in Washington. This was the White House one.
It didn't happen in Washington.
So they say that this guy went in and he was like, all right, let's deploy these items. And they said, we don't have those. What are you talking about? So.
No, I'm pretty sure that, I don't know about the other one, but the LRAD, I think, was used. Maybe not in Washington, but in other parts of the country.
Well, I think they were just saying that the White House team didn't have one. Not that they don't exist. They certainly exist. Both of these do. The big mask debate rages on, and sometimes
much like the indoor plumbing debate rages on.
You have to wonder, like, okay, it's hard enough to get people to do this, but when they do it, do we really want to, just pick at it and find all these little rules? But of course, it's the American education system, so we have to do that.
Orange County fifth grader asked to remove Hooters-themed mask. Okay.
It didn't even have a picture of the owl. I mean, let's face it. We all know that the Hooters restaurant is a thinly veiled reference to the female breast. It's part of their hiring practice. It's their charm. It's the reason they exist. But this mask is just the word Hooters.
It's what it implies.
Was the kid actually in school even, or was this just remote learning?
Well, there'd be no reason for a mask for remote learning. So yeah, I think he did go to school. The teacher said, take off your Hooters mask. He said, why? And she was like, don't question me. And he said, explain to me why the word Hooters is bad. And she said, if you want that explanation, go to the principal. He did. The ball's on this kid. I love it. And the principal said, don't question it. Just take it off. So, they're going to send him back with the mask. See what happens next week. He did take it off. He had a backup mask. Something tells me that they might have known it might have been controversial.
Yeah. And it just seems like a veil to, I don't want to cause a scene.
But a lot of people do hate the masks, and they make some interesting analogies when it comes to Orwellian or over-controlling forces that will force you to do things like wearing a mask. at Disney, it's no exception. And this guy was using their own stories against them.
Maskless man ejected from Disney's Hollywood studios today while screaming misquotes from Pixar's A Bug's Life. And the headline is like, what? WTF? So no, it was the speech where like one ant was standing up and he's like, if all of us ants stand up to the authoritarian thugs, then we can all take over.
The grasshoppers.
Yeah.
The grasshoppers. It's like you haven't seen A Bug's Life.
Yeah, well, I haven't. So
well, I know what you're doing this weekend.
So yeah, I don't, but nobody cared because again, it's like arguing against indoor plumbing.
Oh, there come the comments.
Mostly no. I mean,
yeah,
we've said worse things in weeks gone by, and people are like, yeah, even if it doesn't help, it's a minor inconvenience to be asked to wear a mask.
But also, if you don't believe in masks, then don't go to Disneyland. Jesus. Yeah. It's not something you have to do in your life.
Well, this is in Florida, so it's Disney World. Because of course it's in Florida.
Oh, I thought it was California.
Yeah.
He does look like a Florida man, doesn't he?
He does. He has that Florida energy.
I get that he's stressed. He's probably just misdirecting his stress.
Well, a lot of people are stressed in these darkest of times, and you got to find a way to channel that stress. You got to release it somehow. This would be the wrong way to do it.
I don't even... drugs have to be involved here. The headline was someone broke into a Guelph? I don't even know how that's pronounced. Home and pooped in the dishwasher and then left, according to police. So they broke in. The dishwasher was open because there was a fresh load of dishes that were there. They pooped on the dishwasher and then they left.
What if you did notice that and just popped it closed and turned it on?
That's new dishwasher time. Like just
burn the house.
Yeah. It's just
done. Sure.
They didn't have any leads. Nothing was stolen, so they don't know.
This has got to be drugs. There had to be drugs involved.
What drug makes you do that?
Someone who's trashy, who's like, you know what? Screw this person.
The mother load of meth.
What if they knew exactly who it was, and they're so scared at this point, they're just like, oh, yeah, we're not sure. Maybe this was a real message.
Your dishwasher, you need a new dishwasher because it's the dishwasher's entered that phase of its life where sometimes there's little tiny fine particles of food left behind on the dishes, and somebody was over for a dinner party and they noticed that, and it's like, Karen, you need to get a new dishwasher.
They're rubbing their thumb on the fork. Like, what is this?
And they're like, no, I don't want to get a new dishwasher. I just need to run a few empty loads through the dishwasher to get the food particles out and maybe clean the little trap in the bottom. And they're like, no, you need to get a new dishwasher. And they're like, no, I'm not going to. It's like, I'll show you. And then this happens.
Oh.
I bet that's what happened.
Quarantine hysteria.
Speaking of which, there are some people in this world who thrive only on attention. It's like a form of photosynthesis for them. If they can't get it, they will wilt and die. And when the world is going crazy, the focus may be shifted away from them. And they'll do almost anything to get it back, including... taking on a near suicidal fight.
Logan Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, boxing match confirmed. This is not going to go how he imagines.
Floyd Mayweather considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest of all time, especially in terms of defensive boxing. And Logan Paul, what are his credentials?
Didn't he find a body in the suicide note? Isn't that it? Was it him? He has a brother too, but I forget his name.
He has had some celebrity matches, but I don't think...
Maybe he's just paying Floyd Mayweather and it's all a publicity stunt.
They will make a lot of money.
Like, looking at this picture, the guy covered in glitter, I'm not going to bet on him in a boxing match.
Floyd Mayweather is getting old, but just a few years ago he fought Conor McGregor, who is also considered the best MMA fighter, or was for a while. And beat him pretty soundly. So I don't think Paul has much of a chance there. But I will say this. I wouldn't mind watching the highlights, especially if there's a knockout.
YouTube ad dollars.
I'm not going to pay for it, but I'll check out some clips. Sure. Companies, we've changed our whole lifestyle, and companies are radically trying to shift their product line to adapt to the pandemic and the way that everything is different now. Pepsi has 2 real hits on its hands here. The marketing or the product development team is really earning their money.
They knocked it out of the park.
Krista, I got to think that you're interested in this one.
I'll read the headline first. PepsiCo to launch drink to aid sleep as consumers struggle with stress. Now, I am indeed struggling to sleep, but I'm trying to cut back on my my Pepsi addiction.
Well, this is not soda. This is a, what do they call it? Infused water product?
An enhanced water drink.
Enhanced, yeah.
L-theanine and 10% of the daily value of magnesium.
Now, I do take a magnesium supplement at night.
Does that help you sleep?
Oh, it's not like right away, but over time, my sleep schedule has vastly improved with magnesium.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I tried, what is it? It's the... Shoot, if I hadn't tried to say it, I would be able to remember. But there's some other, like, it's not really a sleeping pill, but it's like a supplement you can take.
I know what you're talking about, and I can't think of it either.
I tried that, but it didn't do anything for me.
The name of this drink from Pepsi is called Drift Well, and I've got their slogan, Drift Well, the insomnia mutilator.
And you have to say it in that, like, really deep voice.
I think they would sell a ton of that. Because apparently there's people are so stressed, they're grinding and cracking their teeth at night.
Wow.
I do that.
I'm not that level.
I don't know if this will help that, but I guess it couldn't hurt. Right?
I have to sleep with a mouth guard, or otherwise I won't have any teeth.
I gotta wonder, you think it's got sugar in it, though?
No, it said it, well, at least not as much as soda.
Well, not as much as soda, yeah, but any kind of sugar, like right. I could see people. It's like, let me brush my teeth first, and then pound a Drift Well.
Yeah.
Let's add some caffeine.
I haven't drank soda in 2 weeks.
Oh wow, are you getting the caffeine headaches? Are you doing coffee and stuff though?
I'm doing. I have a coffee.
Oh, okay. So you've replaced your addiction.
Yeah, but I'm drinking either seltzer water or milk.
Yeah, when I cut way back on soda, I have to do caffeine or tea, or I get the headaches, and it's just real bad.
30 days. You only have to suffer for about 30 days.
I could not make it. I might be able to over like Christmas or Thanksgiving, but otherwise it ain't happening.
That's because I gave up caffeine. I went through that process, and there were so many times I was like, I could just drive to the convenience store and end this right now. And that's one of those reasons where it's like, yeah, I'm never trying heroin or meth. There's no reason. That would not go well. But this next product is, now you might think to yourself, God, I love margaritas, all right? Who doesn't love margaritas? They're so festive. But you're saying to yourself, I would like a margarita right now, but I'm going to be playing some Call of Duty later too. And I need my 360 no-scopes to be fully powered. And margarita is just not going to give me that. I need a liquid that's more of a gamer fuel. What can I do? And the answer is you can go to Red Lobster.
Mountain Dew creates the first cocktail for Red Lobster, the Dew Garita. Here's when you can try the tequila drink.
End of 2020.
Dude, I was hoping they had a picture of it, but they don't.
They don't.
So yeah, it's Mountain Dew and tequila.
It sounds terrible.
And the crushed ice, I imagine. I don't know if there's any other ingredients, but wow, sounds exciting. As we know, mixing alcohol and caffeine can result in some real craziness. Remember Four Loko?
Red Lobster's a upscale joint. I can't believe they'd allow that at their establishment.
Now they do pairings. You know, like you get wine, you get a pairing. They have announced the pairing for the Dew Garita will be the Cheddar Bay biscuits. Those are good.
They are good.
They should do like a special for like $7.99. You just get unlimited Dew Garitas and biscuits.
Oh, that just...
Imagine the next day on the toilet.
Yeah, just... Oh.
Here's the headline. I'm not even going to introduce it because the headline is just so amazing. It's fantastic.
Minneapolis City Council alarmed by surging crime months after voting to defund the police. Minneapolis Police Department crime data shows a rise in assaults, robberies, and homicides.
Who could have expected this?
We also didn't put that money into any other services like mental health, the foster system. We just kept it, and nothing changed. Why?
If only we had known.
We used it to renovate City Hall. We didn't know.
Well, I'm one of the most anti-cop people you ever meet, and I recognize we need something. You can't just erase it.
Well, it's fine to have cops, but why not put some of the money that funds the cops into other social programs? But they don't do that either. So then it's just like a lose-lose situation, which is what happened here.
Yeah.
This is very concerning in the current context.
But you can throw all the social workers you want at assaults, robberies, and homicides. It ain't going to change those things.
Yeah.
People are evil and dark, and there's a horribleness lurking at the bottom of humanity. Actually, it's like the top 26%. And you got to have something that stands in the way of that.
The worst of humanity is literally that richest 1%, and also like the bottom.
That's great.
The other 70%, though, you might be able to make a difference in if they get early enough treatment.
And we have real problems with police, overstepping their bounds, and the whole like you will comply nonsense. It makes me so angry. But the solution is not to get rid of them, because then you get into the whole warlord thing, and that's real bad. Because I don't want to join a gang.
Earlier this year,
it goes Lord of the Flies real quick,
and I don't want to be a gang member. I'm a loner. That terrifies me. That's why I'm so afraid of prison. But if you do want to prepare for the coming lawlessness and darkness, you might want to bulk up and get swole. And there is a brand new tool that has previously been unexplored that will help you build up your protein and get your max reps way up there. It's not proven at all.
Adult health craze for human breast milk poses risks. So I guess some people are starting to get into this because it's so good for babies. But a lot of doctors and nutritional experts point out that, baby's digestive system is way different than an adult's, and so it's going to be processed differently.
So you mean doctors who are trying to keep the sweet breast milk for themselves? Krista, how much per ounce would breast milk have to be worth for you to consider selling yours, assuming you get prego?
And had a baby. The baby needs that, though. Like, are you really having that much excess milk production? I guess you could, this is terrible. I guess you could bottle feed your kid and then not bother breastfeeding and just express the breast milk for sale.
I'm saying, what's your number? How much per ounce?
It'd have to be a lot. It's a pain in the ass to pump, too, at least from what every other person I've ever talked to says.
10
I don't
grand.
know if I have a price.
10 grand per ounce.
That might do it.
How many ounces does a
Stored
woman...
on Level 1.
How many ounces does a woman generate a day in breast milk?
I don't know. I know if you don't either pump or have the baby actually feed, that you will express it either way. So you have to deal with it.
Babies eat how much, 2 or 3 times a day, right? At least.
Oh,
their little bellies.
More than that, yeah.
Yeah, I bet you're cranking out 20, 30 ounces at least.
You know what? The internet can tell us how much.
That's good money, Krista.
Oh, Lord.
In a day.
That's you're almost going into retirement. You know what? 2 pregnancies and you're done. You retire.
The suitability for
You're
ads.
almost exactly right. Full milk production is typically 25 to 35 ounces per 24 hours.
You want to talk to me about anything to do with breasts? I'm on the money. Let's talk about masks again. I should have put this with the other mask story, but this one's a little bit different. Actually, it's a lot different. This is a kind of mask that I think probably this is the first man to ever consider. And it's the people on the bus were surprisingly upbeat and not upset about this at all.
Man using a snake, quote unquote, as a face covering, seen riding the bus in Greater Manchester. I don't think a snake is going to trap particulate matter.
I don't know.
Read the quote here. At first, I thought he had a really funky mask on. Then he let it crawl around on the handrails. Ew. So you're saying it's a mask, but then it's even if we didn't have the pandemic, you're letting it crawl around on public transport handrails and then putting it on your mouth.
You don't realize the bacteria that lives on skin snake actively seeks out and destroys the virus.
But here's the bigger question. Sure, maybe the snake is protecting you from the virus, but who's protecting the snake?
Can it go to... I don't think... They've not tested it to go to reptiles, have they?
That's really horrifying.
So, yeah. Interesting. No one noticed when he got on because they thought it was just, one of those, bandana-style masks.
It's real.
And it started moving around.
Ooh.
I wonder if he bought the snake a ticket. The anti-mask crowd have a lot of excuses as to why they don't want to use masks. I don't think there's a lot of scientific evidence backing up most of them. There might be some of that, it's you need some stuff going in to build your immunity. Maybe there's a little bit of that, but I don't think it's as crazy as people make out. This one I certainly don't believe in. Now, Krista, I'm not going to pretend to be any kind of authority here, but from what I understand from limited reading, God, the Christian God, would be both omniscient and omnipotent. Is that correct?
Yes.
Knows all, sees all. And I think that's a pretty widely accepted belief, right?
Yes.
Which makes me wonder why this man would say this.
Masks are satanic because they block prayers. The best part of this article is the screen grab they got from YouTube where you can see the happy, cheery Christmas stuff in the background, and then this man is hissing like a snake in the foreground.
He's got a nice headset on, though. That headset is like $800.
I wonder where he got that money.
I mean, that microphone is a really nice microphone.
You think if he was wearing a mask, that microphone would still pick up his voice? Maybe we should get God a headset to go with.
Is he actually spitting on the audience members? Because there's nobody else here with us. We don't even have a camera person.
He is spitting. It's pure venom, too. He's blinding them.
That is going to be cool, though, when in another 100 years or so, when genetic manipulation becomes a thing, it's like, oh, what genetic mods do you have? It's like, oh, I spit literal venom. Oh, cool.
So, in our final story, we want to talk about a Halloween costume, but it seems like Halloween is not going to be a thing this year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do you think you could have a costume party if everybody's mask incorporated a protective mask?
That's too risky, I think.
Certainly don't want to send the kids out.
No. Yeah. Kids can't help but lick doorknobs.
Maybe, in your experience, right? Maybe you got to do Zoom Halloween. I don't know how that works. Like you ring up all the people in your neighborhood and then you force them to send Amazon orders of candy.
I mean, for the parties that I actually enjoyed going to, it was almost always a Halloween party.
How about drone Halloween?
That's an expensive Halloween to have.
You mount a screen onto your drone.
Oh, okay.
And it floats up to the door, and it's like, oh, look at those adorable children. And then you put candy in its basket, and then it drones back.
Seems like they would get entangled because there would just be too many of them.
Yeah, they'd be smashing into each other, and the streets would be littered with screens. And
nice.
It'd be fun. It'd be fun times. Well, anyway, your choice of mask this Halloween, maybe it doesn't matter, but there is a great new option out there.
The Karen mask is being called the scariest Halloween costume of 2020. You gotta scroll past. We've lost it. There we go. It's like, I'm going as Karen for Halloween.
It definitely looks like they took, because that doesn't look female. It looks like they took just an existing mask and put that haircut on it.
The wig, yeah.
But it's great.
It's brilliant.
It needs the I'm kind of wearing the glasses like the Karens have, but they don't wear them up here. They wear them like here. And then they go to the grocery store and they hand you the coupons and they're like, actually, that's how they do it.
Now, if you're thinking you got to get your hands on this, some bad news. These are handmade. They're not mass produced yet, and probably not time to spend that up before Halloween. And they're also going to cost you a couple $100, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
Some people get really into Halloween, though. They'll probably get that money.
This guy is a mask maker. He's got some other stuff down here. Looks pretty talented. Got to get it on Etsy. There's probably a link in the story if you're crazy enough to want that. Here's some that he has in progress. It really is just a scary mask that he puts the wig on.
Exciting times.
$180. I'm sorry, I was 20 over.
That's definitely not I'm going to use that for the Halloween for the next decade mask.
Think it will last?
No.
You got to disinfect it.
Ugh. Put it in a vacuum sealed bag every year. Then it grows that weird mold, like the weird, chalky white mold.
Krista, why don't you give us the Karen goodbye?
I could chop my hair off to get the full impression, but hello, I need to speak to the manager, please. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to shut this stream off. Thank you.